All right, guys, that will wrap it up for bell work. Go ahead and close your comp books for me. Just set them aside. All right, we're done with those for just a second. So close them. Close your computers. Set them aside. Thank you. All right, so we've been discussing interplanetary systems, right? We got our geosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. Okay, we know that they have their individual properties, things that take care of us, the things that occur within our planet. Now we're going to discuss their interrelatedness, okay, their interdependency. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to start a little project. Okay. First and foremost, you're going to get with your group, right? Everybody, yep, groups of 4, good. Worked out nicely. A couple people absent today. Okay, with your group, you're going to answer this question. Okay, you're going to have about 5 minutes to talk about it amongst yourselves, come up with an answer, and then a defense of that answer. Okay, why did you choose that organ to get rid of? Okay, at the end of that 5 minutes, we'll have a representative stand up, tell us which organ they chose, why you guys chose it, defend it, okay, and then it'll be open to the other groups to ask you questions. Why did you pick that? Oh yeah, well what about this? Blah, blah, blah. We'll have a nice back and forth. They'll have a minute to respond, and then we'll move on to the next group. Okay, so the question for your group is which, if you had to, which organ would you get rid of? Would you get rid of your brain, heart, or lungs? You have to pick one. Okay, so you got 5 minutes. Go ahead and discuss with your group. Go.
Five minutes later, so we don't waste any time.
All right, guys, go ahead and wrap up your final thoughts with your group. Okay, the question, remember, which one would you get rid of? Your brain, heart, or lungs, and why? Do I have any volunteers that would like to share first? Anybody? Any volunteers? Yes.
Well,
Please
just
go ahead.
quickly thinking, we all know that if you don't have any of those, you're going to be dead. But I guess I can be a vegetable and I'd be brain dead, but I would be hooked up to the machines to keep the rest of my body alive so I could have my family come in and say their goodbyes for as long as I needed.
Okay, so you picked the brain because other things can function as your brain?
Yes, I mean I can still I picked my brain because of I know I would not be able. I'm already brain dead.
Right.
So but I can be hooked up to the machines, so my family can come and say their goodbyes.
Okay, question. If you're essentially dead because you're not aware of them coming to you, what difference is that from that instance or an open casket?
Well, it would just
playing
give
devil's advocate.
my family a closure.
Okay, so less morbid?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so
Yes.
we have a brain. Okay. Anybody disagree with the idea of a brain? Yes, go ahead.
I would prefer to keep my brain
Okay.
and try to go without some lungs,
No lungs.
because once your brain's gone, you're toast, like really toast. Whereas if your lungs aren't functioning, they can hook you up to at least a ventilator, keep
Okay.
you breathing for a time, hopefully, until a replacement may come along.
Okay, so your idea would be lungs are less important than the brain because you could have a temporary fix for your lungs before hopefully a long-term fix comes along.
Correct.
Implanted lungs, or we have those prosthetic lungs that are, starting to be implanted in people. Okay, so heart versus brain. I only have a couple volunteers, so we're gonna pretend that we debated and move on from there. Okay, very good, guys, very good. Heard some good ideas, heard some good demonstration of understanding between these systems. The truth is, you get rid of any one of these and you're in trouble. Okay, if your brain stops functioning, it can't tell the heart and lungs what to do. Okay, eventually these are both going to stop if this one's not telling them what to do. Okay, they're footmen, they're not the central planner. Okay, so lose the brain bad. The heart is what allows this thing to work. If this stops pumping, this is eventually going to die as well. Okay, and the lungs stimulate or provide the oxygen necessary to keep this thing working. All right, so you hurt one, you really hurt them all. You guys understand what I'm trying to say? There's an interdependence, right? And so can someone explain to me how this exercise relates to the 4 Earth systems? Anybody want to take a shot in the dark? Anybody?
The 4 Earth systems are interrelated and
Nailed it.
interdependent.
That's right. That's all I was looking for. Okay, the 4 planetary systems, hydro, bio, geo, atmos, are all interdependent. You affect one, you affect them all. It's just the simple truth. We discussed some of that in previous lectures and exercise and activities. Great. We're going to delve into that a little bit more. And you are going to tell me now, as well as your peers, a little bit more about those relationships. Okay, and we're going to do this through a project. So what I need you to do right now is just pay attention. Okay, you have your computers out, great. Keep them closed for me. Okay, I want you to focus. I'm going to go through this project with you in great detail. Everything I cover will be available to you on Schoology. I'll show you where that is. Okay, so you don't need to take notes. Okay, don't do it. Just make sure that you are paying attention. Okay, so you got your computers out. Hold on for a second. We're going to be working. It's at the top of the page, so it's really easy to find. The folder is titled Planetary Systems Poster Presentation. Okay, so again, for now, just pay attention, and then I will set you free to do some exploring on your own. All right, so we're on Schoology. Got the assignment open. All right, let's go through this. Enlarge that for you a little bit. Okay. The goal of this project, okay, is for you, the student, to demonstrate your understanding, not only of the 4 systems, what they are, what they do, but how they are related to one another. Their interdependence, right? They're not independent of each other. You affect one or have one affect, or have an episode that affects things around it. Okay, it's a very sensitive planet. All right, you upset one thing, you upset others. It's that simple. It's a very gentle balance. So the assignment, you'll be creating a digital poster presentation. Now, this isn't a multi-slide presentation. That's not what I'm trying to dictate there. It's a single slide. It's a poster. But you're going to be using a presenter format. Okay, so PowerPoint, Keynote, Google Slides, whatever. Okay, as long as you're doing or have the ability to share it up here on the screen in digital format. Okay, it's also real nice to use with graphics and text. So that's the way we're going to do it. Okay, you can also easily share it with me. So you're going to design a digital poster through a presenter, okay, on the topic of matter and energy transfer between Earth's 4 systems. Again, geosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere. All right, you get to choose the relationship of your choice. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple examples. You have a couple examples from previous lessons. You can find new examples, but it's up to you. Okay, it just has to share the relationship between all 4 planes. The goal is to have a minimal score of 80% concerning all things. All right, so make sure you get there. I think you can. It's not unrealistic. I'll go through the rubric with you so I know exactly how to achieve that. All right. Simple example. Okay, we start with the geosphere. You have violent volcanic events. It just happens. Okay. In fact, recently there's a couple volcanoes in South America that went off. We saw this type of effect. Okay. The atmosphere was affected directly because the particulates sent up into the atmosphere. All right, created cloud cover, affected the local temperature and climate. Okay, and that leads you to the hydrosphere. If you have these particulates, these sulfuric and carbonic particulates in the atmosphere, they eventually have to come back down because they are heavier. Okay, and they're going to come down in the form of acid rain. Okay, that acid rain affects what comes next, the biosphere. Okay, it can do a couple different things. Destruction of sensitive plant life. Remember, it is acidic. Not everything can handle acid the same as our internal bellies. Okay, less photosynthetic production. If you have these particulates in the sky, less sunlight's getting through. You have migration patterns changing. If there's not enough plant life to sustain other life forms, away they go to find something new. Okay, so a lot of different things can occur. Here's our schedule of the work. You'll have 2 days to complete your research. 2. That's more than enough. Okay, if you need more than that, you'll have to use your outside of time class, so homework, essentially. But you'll need to find at least 3 credible resources, okay, to sustain this project. I'll go through that with you in a couple different demonstrations. Okay, day 3 is poster development. Poster development. If it's pretty but doesn't have the information, it's not good. Okay, if it has the information and it's not that pretty, that's okay. As long as you have the content that I'm looking for, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so research first, poster development, Then the presentation is what cool. I have a sign-up sheet in the back. All right, so make sure you get that done. You need to put your name. First come, first serve. Okay, first come, first serve. Sign up for the time you want. We'll go from there. Minimum poster and presentation requirements. Okay, these are the minimum requirements. Minimum. You must only use credible resources. Okay, only credible resources. We went through a couple examples. I've used a couple different resources in class, so you have those examples. But things you can look for: .gov, .edu, and some.org. You have to look at where that organization is getting their funding, because where they get their funding, the source of funding, sometimes affects biases. So you have to be aware of that. So be selective. Okay, but .gov, .edu. No source is perfect. Nothing to look for is how many times was your resource cited or shared, okay, through professional scientists, and then how many papers support that idea as well. Again, at least 3 resources. You have to cite those in APA format with a reference section on the poster. Again, I'll show you what that looks like, but at least 3, 5 is the goal. Poster must be easy to read. I'll give you a couple, again, examples of what that looks like. But if it's just a jumble of information and images and no coherent structure, what's the point, right? You're gonna confuse other people. We want to keep it coherent. We want to make it look nice, a nice clear path. Right? Think about a walkway. Include 4 images. Okay, I love pictures. Pictures are good. Pictures help people understand where words can't. All right, so make sure you have 4 images of these different spheres and their relationship. Okay, as best as you can. You can layer images to help support your ideas. Professionalism, not just while you are presenting, but while you're being presented to. Okay, while you're up here, use appropriate language, speak loudly, clearly, enunciate. Okay, it's okay to stutter, it's okay to get stuck. Mumbling, let's try and avoid that. All right? You want to be clear, loud and clear. While you're in the crowd, okay, remember it's difficult enough to come up here and talk in front of other people. You guys are still learning to do that. Remember your senior exit project calls on that, so I'm trying to get you ready for that. Baby steps, right? So be courteous to those who are up here. If I find that you are talking